When you talk about the types of insurances here, you need to understand the truth is very, very important. A company will not just depend on one insurance. There might be multiple players on which they have taken insurance. In any circumstance or information which would influence the judgment of the insurer. If you try to do something against the system, then you are to be blamed for the kind of act what you have done. Good morning and welcome to the session 3 of Principles and Practice of General Insurance in the 4th semester BCom, where we are going to talk about an important topic called as the fundamentals of general insurance. Going forward, the first thing that we need to learn here is that any insurance has got a set of some principles. These are fundamental to the nature of insurance and it is mandatory for all of us to understand what is the kind of principles that you need to follow and that is being followed by the organizations. Now let's just get into the principle factor and start with the first one. Principle of utmost good faith. Now just look at the word itself, utmost good faith, which means to say that firstly, in an insurance contract, the seller is the insurer and he has no knowledge about the property to be insured. Second thing, the proposer on other hand knows that whether it is supposed to know everything about the property. The condition is reversed for ordinary commercial contracts and the seller is entirely dependent on buyer for all the information regarding the property or that goods that has to be insured. In short, if I have to explain you, now for example, if I have to take a commercial insurance, a non-life, a general insurance for my house or for my company. Now, what I need to go and tell the insurance company is all I know about my property clearly to the truth level as far as possible, to the utmost clarity level as far as possible. Why am I telling you this is that the insurance company will not know about my property or about my company or about my goods or services which I want to insure. But it is the responsibility of me to go ahead and disclose and tell the truth to the insurance company that this is the property, this is the background of my property, these are all the details, and for this I want to take an insurance. So when I say that word utmost good faith, that means true to the subject knowledge, true to your knowledge, you should be sincere enough in going to the company and telling them the truth about the property which you are going to get insured. This is a very, very important factor that has to come from the side of the person who is going to take the insurance. Now, moving further, if you see here, the following can be inferred from the above two. Now, each party is required to tell each other the truth factor. Why? Because when you talk about the types of insurances here, you need to understand the truth is very, very important. And unlike the normal contract, an obligation is not limited to the questions asked. Failure to reveal information, even if it is not, gives the aggrieved party the right to regard the contract as void. Now, going back a little bit, trying to understand, at any point of time, if I try to hide any information from the insurance company, it will lead to problem for me at the long run. Why? Because suppose I did not tell the insurance the accurate details of what the property is, what are the backgrounds, what is the nature and level of risk that is involved in my business, and I just went ahead and enrolled my property for insurance. At the time of claiming insurance, it will become difficult. Why? Because people will ask at that time, sir, you did not disclose these details at the beginning. So it is always mandatory for the person to go forward and tell to the company very, very clearly that these are the details. This is why I want to take the insurance. This is the value. So what we always request the person who is taking the insurance to talk only the truth. Let us not go ahead and try to cheat each other so that both of us land in problem. Moving further, the material fact. What is a material fact? A material fact in every circumstance or information which would influence the judgment of a prudent insurer in assessing the risk. Now, what is a material fact? What is the truth about the factors here? Which means to say that in any circumstance or information which would influence the judgment of the insurer. So, for example, if the insurance company is going to insure your car, your house, your shop, or whichever that material factor, that needs to be given clearly to the insurance company by the person who wishes to take the insurance. Reason being is that the company will be able to make a better judgment whether to give insurance or not. Suppose you feel that the company might have thought other way around. The company thinks that based on our judgment and expertise, we don't have to give insurance here, we don't have to give a particular amount of money here, then automatically they will go ahead and reject the insurance. So what this material fact tells you is that you need to disclose everything to the insurance company about your nature of goods, the nature of factors, all the material fact, whatever it's available, please be clear enough to the company to tell the truth. Now, the next thing is that facts which must not be, which let's start going with which must be disclosed, and then let's go on to the factor of which does not need to be disclosed. Now, facts which have to be disclosed, let's start with that, which show that the risk represents a greater exposure than it would be expected from the nature. Now, for example, I want to go ahead and go for an insurance for my company which is involved in chemicals, especially let's say that I have a company that manufactures fireworks for the normal occasions, for any other festivals. I am a kind of company which actually manufactures fireworks. So now what happens here is that the nature of risk that is involved in a firework is entirely different from the nature of risk that is involved in general chemicals or in some garment factory altogether. So what happens here is that the risk represents the actual factor of how much you need to insure, under what conditions you need to insure, and how do you need to take that insurance forward. Why? Because sometimes you might feel all of a sudden stating that, sir, things did not happen. Things did not come into the factor at all. Then what should I do? Now, if you believe that the risk is only to a certain extent, but then the risk extends than the expected level, then it will be a problem. So that is why what we tend to do is that expose the risk to the company, clearly stating that this is the amount of risk that needs to be taken into account, and then they will be able to give you a proper judgment, a proper decision altogether. The next thing is the external factors that make the risk greater than the normal. What are the external factors that you are subjected to? Now, for example, let's take the recent incidents of what happened in the country of Nepal. Now, in that small Himalayan kingdom, all of a sudden, the fury of nature has destroyed a greater part of Nepal. Nepal as a country is today subjected to several disaster management forces, several kinds of disasters that we do not know. Himalayan kingdom being subjected to a hill station altogether, and there are several kinds of risks that are associated, like you might have a sudden flash flood or a landslide, or you might have suddenly an earthquake popping up. All these kind of things might be an external force that might be detrimental to an organization which is established there. So if I have a company, if I have a branch in Nepal, now when I want to take an insurance for that branch, for that organization, I need to go and tell to the insurance company what is the nature of the organization that is located, what kind are we subjected to. Why? Because the external factors will also have an impact on the nature of business. The next thing, facts which would make the amount of loss greater than the normal expected. Now, for example, I might have just taken into mind the loss that might happen because of my business going down might be just 10 crores. But then the actual loss would be more than 20 crores. So what I need to tell to the insurance company is the higher expectation. That's why we say that facts that would make the amount of loss greater than the normal expected. Normal expected is only 10 crores, but then I want to go and tell them because it might be on the higher side. So I'm going to tell the insurance company it is worth about 20 or 30 crores. Now, the history of insurance. Insurance is for the organization, is not today or yesterday. There might be a history of insurance for the organization. When I mean to say history of insurance, what are all the previous insurances that you have done for the company in the last few years? That has to be mentioned very, very clearly. Why? Because how much have we claimed? Why are we switching from one insurance company to another company? What are all the change factors? All the things have to be clearly revealed to the organization, followed by the existence of other insurances. Now, a company will not just depend on one insurance. There might be multiple players on which they have taken insurance. So I might have taken insurance from HDFC Ergo, from General Insurance, from ICICI Lombard General Insurance. I might have also taken from Royal Sundaram. I might have also taken from IFCO Tokyo. So there might be several general insurance companies for which I have insured my company with. So that has to be mentioned clearly again on the papers. Next thing is the full facts relating to the description of subject matter of insurance. What are the complete details about the factors that you are going to get insured? So it is the company, the size of the company, how many people are working, what is the nature of your operations, what are you actually involved with, what are all the factors, the production, the machinery, the people, the process, the technology, your disaster management factors, everything put together has to be clearly given to the organization so that they can make a detailed assessment about the nature and operations that are involved about your company. Now, the next thing is that which need not be disclosed. Now, let's come to those factors where you don't have to emphasize to the insurance company. The first one, facts of law. Now, everyone is deemed to know about law. That is a basic understanding. You need to know about law. Overloading of goods carrying vehicles is legally banned. Now, let's just try to put it in a very, very simple manner. Now, the day when we started learning moral science in our life, when people taught us a very simple proverb called as honesty is the best policy. Now, this is a mandatory statement. You cannot overlook the statement. This is a universally accepted statement. Similarly, the facts of the law clearly tell you that there are certain things which has to be followed as per the rules, as per the regulations that are laid down. Now, if you try to go against the law, if you try to do something against the system, then you are to be blamed for the kind of act what you have done. You cannot go back and blame the insurance company stating that, sir, I did not know. No, this is something basic, mandatory that you have to accept and that you have to do it. So that's why we say that the facts of the law are important. Similarly, facts which lessen the risk. What are the facts that will lessen the risk? That's very, very important. The existence of good firefighting system that you need to have. So for example, what are all the safety precaution methods that you have kept in the building? That has to be clearly mentioned, because if you don't do that, then again you might land up in a problem. So that has to be accepted. That has to be done very, very clearly. facts of common knowledge. Now that's very, very important. The insurer is expected to know what are all the susceptible factors, what are all the areas that can actually create problem, where are all the sensitive points located in a business. Now, you cannot say that, sir, I will run an oil and petroleum company and allow people to smoke in the same area. That's a simple common sense. Why? Because oil and petroleum companies are susceptible to fire very easily. So you need to know the nature of operations that you are involved. So suppose the nature of operations involves a greater amount of risk, you need to tell the company very clearly the nature of business. This is what I am involved. So I need to know the fact of common knowledge to the highest level possible. Now, when I also tell you the lessen the risk factor, then why should I go to the insurance? Now, the simple thing is that whenever you are building an organization, you are building a particular campus altogether, you need to understand what are all the risk factors where we can lessen it. Now, for example, you need to have a fire extinguisher, you need to have a medical kit, you need to have certain basic factors and phenomena that could prevent people in terms of getting injured. So certain common factors which can lessen the risk should always be included as a part of your system. And these things do not need to be disclosed to the company because they assume and they understand this factor that you already know it. These are all a part and inbuilt, a default part of your organization. The next thing is that, again, facts which could be reasonably discovered. For example, previous history of claims. You know that in the last 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, these are all the claims that we have made, and these are all the areas where the claims can be made. So again, that's a reasonably known. You know that these are all the probability, the chances where the business can take a slip. So that is why you need to understand of reasonably discovered. The next thing is that the facts which insurer's representative fails to notice. And that's a simple phenomenon. Why? Because humans are subjected to error. So let's try to understand this factor clearly. In a burglary or fire insurance, it is often the practice of insurance companies to depute surveyors to inspect the premises in case the surveyors fails to know the hazardous features and provide the details without the help of the insured and conceal them. The insurer cannot be penalized. Now, what happens here is that, for example, the person who comes and he tries to go forward in terms of inspection, and he has not noticed certain factors inside the organization, and he has just given for the claim factor or the claim form altogether, then what is that we are subjected to? We are subjected to severe problem. Why? Because there might be reasons that we need to understand here. There might be factors that we need to understand here, that yes, there are certain things which we have not disclosed. So it is now our duty that we should have already told and gone first. So that's why we say that the facts, there might be some time which people might have not noticed, but we need to keep in mind that these are all the challenges that are involved in terms of the insurance. Moving further, now duration of duty of disclosure. Now that's very, very important. The duty of disclosure remains in force throughout the entire negotiation stage until the contract is finalized. So until the entire document is finalized, the duration of disclosure remains in force. Once the contract is finalized, then the contract is being subjected to a simple ordinary good faith altogether. So now what happens here is that until the contract is completely finalized, until the contract is completely put across, saying that this is the factor, these are all the terms and conditions, then only it becomes a contract of good faith. Until then, it's only a disclosure statement. Why? Because the company has again taken into account the various other factors. Then they have to come to a conclusion and give you the contract. Next, the breaches of utmost good faith. Now, what will happen if you breach this particular principle? Misrepresentation, which again may be either innocent or intentional. If intentional, we call it as fraudulent. By mistake, if I did not go ahead and tell you something, okay, accepted, that can be considered to be an innocence from your part. But wantedly, if I try to hide some facts from you, then that is intentional and it will lead to a fraudulent scenario. The second one, non-disclosure, which may be innocent or fraudulent. Now, what happens here is that, now if it is a fraudulent kind of a thing, then automatically the insurance will get cancelled, and it might also lead to legal formalities in terms of, going forward to a court, and then the law takes its own call. But here what happens is that it is very, very important for us to understand whether the person who's taking insurance has done it intentionally or non-intentionally. Now, non-intentionally, you don't have to worry, but then intentionally, if you have done it, then you must be ready to face the court of law. With this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the information that has been shared through this session will be of a great help and resource to you. In the upcoming sessions, we shall be talking more about the principles of insurance. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.